What's up guys, welcome back to a brand new video on Lexalexus. Today we are carrying things on with our score predictions within a matter of days before I posted my last predictions video. We are back here today predicting because we've got a midweek set of games. That's then followed by a weekend set of games before we actually have another international break, would you believe it? But honestly, I am really enthralled with this championship season so far. There's so many twists and turns, and it's really been as unpredictable as it's turning out to be, which is really making this season enthralling, honestly. As always, guys, make sure you do leave your score predictions in the comments down below if you guys want to get involved in the Lexalexus Football Prediction League. But also, it's just nice to see you guys getting involved as well, hearing your opinions. And, you know, I've got a lot of comments actually about on my views on loads of the teams this season, and it was a really good insight actually. And I've got to say thank you guys for the support of my last video. It has certainly performed a lot better than my other predictions videos recently, so I've got to thank you guys for hitting that like button, and doing so again will be really appreciative. Please do hit the subscribe button if you've not done so as well, and please share the channel as well if you haven't as well. All three of these things are free to do, and they really help the growth of this channel. But as always guys, I really appreciate the support. But without any further ado, let's go round again predicting the championship, and we've now made it to week 14. We start things off with Bristol City going up against Sheffield United. Both of these sides picking up a win a couple of days ago, and both by a 2-goal margin. Bristol City beat Preston by 3-1. Certainly one of the major points in the game was the controversy of their opening goal, where it did appear that in the build-up the ball was punched by a Bristol City player, leading to the goal. However, when Preston did hit back from Sam Greenwood, Bristol City did look like that they allowed their quality to take the game away from Preston. So I'm glad in a way that despite the controversy, Bristol City did show within their performance that they were able to get the job done against Preston and to earn their win. For Sheffield United, they were impressive against Blackburn Rovers, and in fact they're the only team to have beaten Blackburn at home all season actually. They won by 2-0, and actually by the stats they looked relatively comfortable actually. So it was a really good performance by Sheffield United. They're starting to look a little bit, you know, prepared going into these games. They are not looking so erratic, which is really good. You know, when they lost those 2 games in a row, I was thinking that maybe the wheels are starting to fall off of Sheffield United, but it looks like they've regained that composure, which is nice. As a prediction, I think it's really going to be close. Both teams are capable of scoring. I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to Sheffield United. I've got a little bit more confidence in their squad, but I do think Bristol City are not going to make it easy for them at all. Let me know, however, what you think in the comments down below. Next up, we've got Oxford United going up against Hull City. So an interesting set of scenarios going around with both of these sides, and both of these sides were certainly not pleased with their performance and their result a couple of days ago as well. So Oxford lost at home to Swansea City. Now, this was the Swansea City side who had not scored in 5 consecutive games. So when I saw that Swansea took the lead, it really did catch my eye. And I was thinking maybe Oxford, with their strong home form, they could get the win here. But actually, no. They did rely on Dane Scarlett to get a late goal like he did against West Brom. He did the same against Swansea. But by that point, Swansea commanded to a 2-goal lead, and it was too much for Oxford to do in too little time. Hull were involved in a home draw against Portsmouth, and it doesn't really paint the full story. Hull were very dominant first half, but second half, the first chance they gave to Portsmouth, they scored it, and Hull just could not gain back that control and could not find the second goal in their front. So disappointing for Hull, considering how much they dominated for that game. This game, I think, is going to be very interesting. Oxford's winless form, I think, is now starting to have a mental impact on them. Normally, they're pretty strong at home, but we did see against Swansea, there are some vulnerabilities defensively, and if they cannot find those goals, it's going to be more of a scenario where they are just going to have to try and outscore the opposition. And we do know Hull can put a goal in, you know, when they can do as well. But honestly, as a prediction, I can easily see Hull winning this, but obviously I can also see Oxford winning this too. I'm going to therefore compromise for a draw, but I see this being a high-scoring game, you know. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think both these sides are capable of scoring, but also capable of leaking goals as well. So I'll therefore go for a 2-2 draw. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments down below. Another interesting game we have on our hands is QPR going up against Middlesbrough. So it's hard to sum up their performances last couple of games ago, or last couple of days ago, I should say, because it was a bit extraordinary compared to what they were doing all season. So QPR actually got a point at home, and it was against top of the league Sunderland. They managed to get a 0-0 draw in the end, and it was certainly a feisty game. Joe Bellingham getting sent off in that game. So QPR had a good period of that game where they did have an extra man on the field, but unfortunately their attacking confidence is so low that even with that, they weren't able to penetrate and find a way through to get to a goal. But Sunderland, I've got to say, defended well as well and actually did maintain some control. Middlesbrough put out, I think, one of the most shocking performances in not a good way last weekend against Coventry. Now, again, context being taken, Hayden Hackney, their captain, was sent off within the opening 20 minutes. So Middlesbrough, for the majority of that game, had, you know, a man down compared to Coventry. But I was very, very shocked, actually, how much Coventry took advantage. They beat Middlesbrough by 3-0. So certainly Middlesbrough will be wanting to try and get a recovery here. QPR need a recovery, full stop, at home. I think the stat says that QPR have actually got the worst home form of the whole EFL. So they need to try and get more points here. But honestly, I do think despite the troubles that Middlesbrough had last game, I think they could bounce back here. Prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-0 away victory to Middlesbrough. Even that draw against Sunderland, whilst it was brave, it's not convinced me that they're going to get 3 points here. And honestly, if Middlesbrough score early, I think they'll get some goals. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments down below. Next up is Sheffield Wednesday versus Norwich. Both were involved in some pretty dramatic games in their own right. Let's talk about Sheffield Wednesday first. Day to forget a couple of days ago for Sheffield Wednesday. 6-2 the final scoreline at Hillsborough. I've not remembered a score like that for a good couple of years. It was certainly not a good look for Sheffield Wednesday's part. Vacuum Bayo having an incredible game to score 4 goals for Watford alone. It's sensational, but defensively shambolic and just non-existent. And the fact that fans were leaving very early in the second half is not a good look. They need to get a response. But this might be actually one of the better times to play Norwich. They've got lots of injuries in their key players, and they did lose a couple of days ago against Cardiff. Now, it was dramatic the way they lost it. Borja Sainz being one of the championship players of the season so far. I saw for my own eyes when they played Middlesbrough. He almost by himself got Norwich that draw. He's sensational. Scored another cracker a couple of days ago here, but a dramatic turnaround for Cardiff to be 1-0 down in the 88th minute and to win it. Callum Robinson 89th minute, Callum O'Dowda 93rd minute. I mean, it's sensational. It's Tottenham Hotspur level of bottling, really. But the fight back that Cardiff are having is sensational. I'll talk more about that when I'm predicting them. But this is more or less focusing how Norwich threw it away. And honestly, again, just defensive fragilities and maybe a lack of game management is what cost them there. But as a prediction, it's hard to say because I would back Sheffield Wednesday normally at Hillsborough, but that defeat against Watford was so out of the ordinary. I don't know if this is going to be a common thing for Sheffield Wednesday to concede so many goals, because I do think their defence has been a real problem this season. I'm going to go for a mad 3-2 away victory to Norwich. I think Norwich have the capability of hitting back, and they have shown that they can still score goals without the likes of Josh Sargent being in the squad, for instance. But I do think Sheffield Wednesday are also going to make a fight of it as well. So they certainly won't give up, but I think it will be Norwich that edge out here. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments down below. Who's to say this game won't be significant come the relegation battle this year? We've got Plymouth at home park playing up against Portsmouth. Portsmouth, who have still only won 1 game so far this season. They did pick up another away point against Hull, with Josh Murphy getting the equalising goal. And actually, to be fair to them, they did manage to keep on to that point, where many occasions where they were in a great position to get something, they threw it away. So fair play for them for that. Plymouth, certainly struggling a bit with their form at the moment, but they have played a couple of away games. So now that they are back at home park, I think this is just going to be a much better place for Plymouth to be at. And it certainly was not the best of performances against Leeds United, but Plymouth have got the worst away form in the whole EFL. So it didn't surprise me, unfortunately. So I do think at home, Plymouth are going to be so much better. They'll be a lot more competitive here. But as a prediction, it is so hard to call, because I could see Plymouth edging it, but Portsmouth have been finding a way to get something. But this is going to be crucial. It's 22nd going up against 24th. So it's the bottom three facing each other here. I'm going to go, because of home advantage, I'm going to edge Plymouth for a 2-1 home victory. But honestly, it is so close and so many things can happen that can change the game. But I've just got that tiny bit more faith with Plymouth Argyle. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments down below. The final game taking place tomorrow is Swansea going up against Watford. So both of these sides picking up a good away win. So Swansea, they managed to narrowly get past Oxford United. I was very impressed with them, actually, that they bounced back from their previous winless run. So going up against Oxford, a side who, you know, they themselves were also in a winless one. So the pressure was really on to see if anyone could snap out of their poor form. It was Swansea, with the experience that they had, that he managed to get that sort of experience out of it. And I do think it was down to knowing how to break this Oxford side down, hitting them, you know, with pace, but also being able to be defensively disciplined too. Watford blew everyone away. And I gotta say, Watford have actually been okay not so long ago, actually. It's like a couple of game weeks ago, they were toppling down the table, but now they've brought it back. So, again, you can never predict each side to really go on a really poor run of form or a good run of form, because there's so many twists and turns that really determine the season. A 6-2 away victory was certainly special for them. It was paradise and a near perfect outcome in their part as well, and it currently sees them within the top 6 as well. So what a miraculous recovery from Watford here. As a prediction, I am a lot more confident with Watford at the moment. Whilst there was a good improvement for Swansea, I do see Watford being a little bit more confident going into this, and I think it might give them the edge. I'm going to go for a 2-0 away victory to Watford. But honestly, if Swansea do get something out of this, which they are so capable of doing, it also wouldn't surprise me either. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments down below. Starting off Wednesday's games, we've got Blackburn going up against Stoke City. Contrasting results from both of these sides. Blackburn were subject to their first home defeat of the season, losing 2-0 to Sheffield United. Stats-wise, as I mentioned, didn't really look like that they really laid a glove on Sheffield United, but I've got to say, Sheffield United are looking really, really confident and really compact at the moment. Stoke is the team that I was a little bit more shocked of with their performance. They managed to edge out Derby in the end by 2-1, but they certainly did not make it easy for themselves. So the first goal came from a penalty, which was dispatched. Then, for what could only be described by a defensive miscommunication between Ben Gibson and Victor Johansson, caused a Derby equaliser. But Ben Gibson turns from zero to hero to head in a set piece to give Stoke all 3 points. So, crazy times for Stoke, but it's a really important win, because I think there was small fears starting to creep up that maybe Stoke could be involved within the relegation picture, which they could still do if they decide to go on and win this one again. But it has shown that Stoke are capable of producing some clutch results. Blackburn, though, are not being as convincing. They're now fallen out of the top 6. Their form has deteriorated a bit with 2 consecutive defeats now. I don't know what to think of this. As a prediction, I'm not being too impressed with Stoke away from home, so I'm really conflicted here. I'm actually going to go for a 1-1 draw. I've not predicted too many draws so far, so I'll compromise with this one and I'll go for a draw here. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments down below. Next up sees Coventry going up against Derby County. Contrasting results from both of these sides as well. Derby, as I mentioned, with Stoke, they lost out by 2-1, and I got to say I was a little bit disappointed that Derby didn't put Stoke too much under pressure in longer periods of the game. That was the only thing I was a little bit disappointed with. The goal came round ultimately to a defensive miscommunication. So Derby do, I think, need to create a little bit more of their own. I do think a lot of the time they just run out of ideas, I think, a lot of it. Coventry are turning their season around ever so slightly. I'm not going to get carried away that Coventry are back, but they've now jumped from bottom 3 up to 14th place. Now they've got to try and stay this consistency for the next couple of games. I mean, if they can pick up 6 points out of 6 here, then automatically they can actually have a huge tick over these period of games, despite in those periods of games ending up in the bottom 3, because it means they're on a positive way up in the momentum, and it does close the gap with them being comfortably in the top half as well. So this is how quickly a season can change in the Championship when you win 3 or 4 games in a row. It really does make you jump from one end of the table to the next. Prediction here, I think Coventry will continue with their form, honestly. I'm a little bit more confident with them at this moment of time. I don't think Derby away from home being particularly strong. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Coventry. It'll be close, but I think Coventry with confidence, the home advantage, and Derby's lack of an ability of picking up away points, I think will give Coventry 3 points here. Let me know what you think though in the comments down below. This is really going to be an exciting clash this. It's Millwall versus Leeds. Millwall, I gotta say, I actually really undermined them. I actually had a couple of comments about my Millwall sort of analysis last video. And it was really just me regurgitating that despite Millwall being in good form, you've got to bear in mind that all these teams have this form at some point in the season, or majority of them at least, and then sometimes they drop down. But they beat Burnley, and this was a really interesting test for Millwall to see if they can just find the edge and they can limit a team like Burnley, where I know they've got loads of injuries at the moment, but even with that, to still limit them to a clean sheet as well is brilliant. And Millwall are slowly but surely finding their ways to improve their game, and they are getting points more consistently. And because of that, they're 7th place in the table. I can't believe the turnaround we're seeing with Millwall. But I think they're facing, in my opinion, the informed team in the Championship, and that's Leeds at this moment of time. They are blowing teams out of the water in the last couple of games or so. They recently beat Plymouth by 3-0 with 3 goals in 8 minutes. That's how quickly Leeds can take the game away from you. I don't think we're going to see a game like that though. I do think it'll be very tight and very cagey. Prediction, I'm actually going to go for a 1-goal win. Millwall or Leeds? I can honestly see one of them just winning by 1-0, but it's a coin flip. I really don't know what to do. I'm not going to go for a draw. I'm going to be brave actually and back one of them. And you know what? I'm going to go Leeds. I'm going to go 1-0 Leeds, but I was very close to predicting 1-0 Millwall, so I'll be very annoyed if that's the actual result, but I'll back Leeds. I'm really liking what they're doing in an attacking sense at the moment. I think I'm going to edge it on that. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments down below. Next up, we've got Luton going up against Cardiff City. Interesting games in their part. So Luton were involved in a 1-1 draw against West Brom. I haven't actually mentioned about that game yet because I did actually watch it live in a pub. So West Brom did take the lead. Very, very late first half goal from Josh Marja. I thought that could really down Luton's spirits going into half time. But actually second half, Luton really improved and shown that they can perform. It's just a shame we don't always see that for the full 90 minutes. Tahith Chong got the equaliser in the end for Luton Town. And it was looking like it was Luton trying to push on for the winner. But ultimately, it just wasn't quite enough for them in the end. And I already talked about Cardiff. What a turnaround they're having. They are absolutely smashing it now. They are in form. And I cannot believe the results that they're putting out the bag. To go 1-0 down the 88th minute and to win 2-1 against Norwich, a side that put 3 goals past Middlesbrough. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable that Cardiff are pulling this off. But here, I think it's actually going to be quite a tough game. But honestly, I'm going to go for a draw. Again, I've not predicted too many draws. I can see Luton being pretty strong here. But I think Cardiff can find the answers and can stop Luton picking up 3 points here. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I've not predicted too many draws, as I said. So I'm going to compromise with this one because I actually think this one's really close. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments down below. Our last game for Wednesday sees Preston going up against Sunderland. Interesting encounter, I think. The Alex Neil derby, as it were. Preston, of course, were involved in that defeat against Bristol City. They would feel a little bit hard done by for especially going behind at half time. They responded very, very well, but then the performance just slipped from them and maybe a lack of concentration. Probably Bristol City also showing some fight as well. But it was a shockingly bad home performance, and Preston have been doing quite well quite recently, so it was a result that surprised me a little bit. They do have the chance to give something back to their home fans, but they are facing top of the league, Sunderland, where despite them dropping points actually, they, obviously had Joe Bellingham sent off. It'll be very, very interesting to see how they cope without his presence on the field. It's going to be an interesting game, I think. And whilst they did drop points, it was actually the only team that gained an advantage from that was Leeds, I found. Because, of course, and maybe Sheffield United too, actually. So those two gained the advantage. But Burnley, who were below them, they lost. So arguably, Sheffield United and Leeds gained the advantage, but Sunderland gained a point from Burnley. So ultimately, we did have winners and losers last weekend. Here, this is so close. Prediction, I'm going to go 2-1 Sunderland. I think just down to their attacking squad, down to their consistency, down to the way that they can switch to play and can completely run wire over Preston. And I think Preston will make it really tough, but I just see Sunderland edging it here. Let me know what you think though in the comments down below. Bizarrely enough, guys, this final game is on Thursday, so this game will not have kicked off by the time I have to release my next score predictions videos, which is a bit of a first. West Brom and Burnley. And honestly, I'm actually not excited for this game. Both of these sides are not scoring a lot, and both I think are really underperforming with what their squads can promise. And I do think both are going through a little bit of a tough run. Burnley only 1 win in 5. West Brom, they've suffered 6 draws in a row actually, if I'm right saying, at least 5 draws in a row from what I remember from the stats. So both of these sides are not picking up many wins. So the obvious choice for me would be to predict a draw, but actually what I do see, I see this being really tight and cagey, and with it being 0-0 for a lot of it, but 0-0 would just be such a boring scoreline, which probably what I should be predicting here. I think, to spice things up, I think one team will win by 1-0, and I'm going to give the edge to West Brom, with them being at home. I've not been too impressed with Burnley's conversions at the moment. I know they've got a lot of players out, but with West Brom, I am seeing slight improvements with their attacking play. It's really been their game management which has let them down actually quite recently. But if they can score, I think that's going to put Burnley in a lot of trouble. Prediction, I'm going to go 1-0 West Brom. Not many goals. I don't think it'll be a classic, but I think it'll be just about enough for the baggies. Let me know what you think though in the comments down below. And just like that, guys, that is my score predictions done. Please make sure, guys, as I said at the start, to leave your score predictions in the comments down below to get you guys involved in our championship discussion and, of course, the Lexalexus Football Prediction League. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Please like, subscribe and share if you've not done so. It really does help the growth of this channel. And thank you guys as always for the support. You guys are legendary with so many of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys soon with another score predictions video. Take care everyone and enjoy your championship game week. See you guys.